Since the 21st century, China has developed rapidly and played an increasingly important role on the global stage. No matter from the political or economic point of view, Chinese culture has gradually entered the international field of vision. What about Chinese music? Regarding the role of Chinese music, Paul from the Department of Contemporary Chinese Studies at University of Westminster said,
Firstly, I suppose are the most obvious roles in the present day, which a lot of this is about economy, about making money, about developing oneself in terms of fame. But then there are many other methods and functions of music as well.
I'm Yi Ruqing. I've lived in China for 23 years. I've studied guzheng for 3 years. I really want to spread Chinese culture. Now in the UK, we will visit musicians who play Chinese musical instruments and see how they make Chinese music integrate West and East, play the voice of China, and let the Chinese music go from tradition to the world. Thanks for paying attention to Chinese music in UK. We start with erhu, a traditional musical instrument that Chinese people have always known and loved. I met Jeff, who is from Malaysia and has been playing erhu since middle school for more than 30 years. He is very enthusiastic about spreading erhu.
我在英国真的很难找到志同道合的人，因为这边学乐器的也不少，老实讲，来来去去都有。但是我就不懂，他们很多数就是坚持自个玩自个的，尤其一些比较专业的，他们可能都不接受我们业余的人一起玩。我就是一直希望有这样的人可以出来领导，真的把集中在那个力量传播这个中国乐器。
I followed Jeff to Chinese Community Center in Chinatown, London. Here, he played the erhu for us.
它就很接近人发出的声音，就好像就是一个，你可以把你的感情投入在那个玩erhu，就好像你在唱一首歌或者讲一段故事一样。
According to Bilibili, the head of Chinese Community Center, this place has been in existence since 1979. It is a charitable organization that provides work and entertainment for Chinese people and helps them live better in UK. At some major festivals such as Chinese New Year and Christmas, they also have some activities. When it comes to fewer foreign people who play Chinese music, her opinion is
increasingly it's got more and more people sort of like they wanted to learn Chinese instruments. In the old days, not many locals know about Chinese instruments. So, but then, I mean, now there are a lot of people quite familiar with like guzheng paper and all that. So yeah, increasingly we do have more people. You see, when they don't know, they would be scared. They're not quite familiar with that, so therefore they probably think, okay, I don't know whether I would be able to learn. I mean, just like imagine a Chinese person has never really experienced piano. So first time you look at the huge instrument, you're thinking, oh, geez, how am I going to do it? So that might be the one reason. I think a lot of people just not familiar with that. They just don't know. If you don't know the thing, you're not sure whether you like it. So if you don't know whether you like it, will you spend £40 to try it? You probably won't, right? A lot of people possibly will think, oh, maybe not.
Then we met teacher Julie, who is the only guzheng teacher here. When she heard that I can also play guzheng, she invited me to join them.
等一下还来人，他也会弹。
Julie used to hold many performances. and she loves teaching students here. This Chinese English girl is a frequent visitor here.
Born and raised in London, I started playing the erhu when I was about 10 years old with my mom. And I first started off playing the guzheng actually, and then I found it quite challenging, and then started playing the erhu because it's quite similar to the violin. I think that I wish that Chinese music has a bigger platform so that it can be shared with other cultures and possibly have an opportunity to integrate into mainstream music.
I think the atmosphere is like Paul said.
My understanding of how this music was initially practiced in the kind of tea houses in Shanghai and this Jiangnan region was that this was music that was often played for self-entertainment. It wasn't necessarily played for other people. It was a kind of, I suppose, a method of social bonding, of getting together with other people and just enjoying yourself, passing music as leisure practice.
But apart from enjoying the music of small group of people, musicians also hold some small concerts. I think this is also their efforts to spread Chinese music. In the field of music, there is an important figure for Chinese people in the UK. Ray is 85 years old and comes from Hong Kong. He has lived in UK for 67 years, and he has his own opinion on music spreading.
Chinese people more slower than European do not be teaching. Even nowadays, they're always like that. Why is that? Well, first, I think that Chinese people, they don't care about perfect. They feel they play already nice already. They satisfy more easier than the European people.
He has been spreading Cantonese music all his life. He once opened a small musical instrument shop, but now is closed for his physical problems. All the musical instruments are placed in his home now. He showed me many previous videos and many musical instruments. He said he hopes a younger generation will stick to it. In London, many musicians played music with Ray, so through Ray, we got to know RJ from Hong Kong. He opened a coffee shop in East London. Like Ray, his coffee shop is full of his musical instruments. This coffee shop looks very professional, like a small stage with many professional equipments. He is a psychotherapist, and every day when he finishes his work, he will open his own coffee shop at 6 p.m. He can play the pipa, but he's really proficient in bamboo flutes and flute. He showed me many kinds of bamboo flutes, which made me feel very bright and attractive voice of China.
Chinese bamboo flute has a very, very bright, distinctive tone, and this is the D key, and the D key, when it's played, we're using the opening of the Yellow Crane Returns Home. The piercing brightness is used as a solo, particularly to transcend the orchestral instruments as it comes in, and it has a very, very different tone than the harmonic, and it's used more for soothing, more meditative, relaxing sounds.
Speaking of the development of Chinese music in UK, he said,
Perhaps Chinese music is not well promoted, particularly in England. It tends to be more of a niche interest for small speciality or for local musicians. It doesn't really gain that sort of Instagram crowd, it doesn't gain the Facebook likes. It's a very, very small niche area, so it tends to take on more of the applied listener, or the person who's actually very involved in music, who discovers the textures and tones.
And Paul had the same idea about this question.
The already dominant musics within this system is, well, it's kind of this English language popular musical genres, right, are the ones that dominate. And I think it becomes very difficult for other musical forms to kind of get in on the act.
Yes, but many musicians are still doing what they think they should do. There are many music stories happening in this coffee shop too. Cheng Li from Hong Kong is performing erhu. He has always felt it is very interesting to come to London and get in touch with the cultures from different countries. This time, he combined the story with the Chinese erhu and gave everyone a magical performance. I asked him what is special about Chinese music in his mind.
In Chinese music, usually you have a scale. That is, we have the pentatonic scale, but we also have some very strange heptatonic scale, especially in Guangdong music. Guangdong music, sometimes they have some heptatonic scale with 7 notes, but some of the notes are slightly higher, like a quarter tone higher than the normal Western scale, or quarter tone lower, which to me, that is what makes it sound very special. It doesn't feel like the kind of music you hear in West. Maybe I can show a little bit. If you hear, if you compare to the Western scale, it sounds like, is it out of tune? But actually, that is how it sounds like in the Chinese scale.
Finally, I asked him about the integration of Chinese music and Western music.
Sometimes we have to think about the balance. We want to keep what characteristic of Chinese music we think is beautiful, that we want to keep. I don't want to make the Chinese music sounds like Western music. For example, I don't like some musician will, for example, play Tchaikovsky violin concerto on erhu, or they play Paganini or something like very Western, like a Flight of the Bumblebee, which is very technical, very highly technical in a Western way. That's a very fast, very showy in a way, which I didn't like. I found Chinese music is beautiful because it is quiet. It helps with your mind. If it is very about the internal feeling. So that's what I treasure. So I think even when we mix with other kind of music, we have to bear in mind what is most important. Maybe I'll play a piece that I learned from a Bulgarian friend. It's a Bulgarian folk song.
With the song of Erhu, our interview is coming to an end. I made this film is let more people to know if you want to tell story about Chinese musical instrument, you must communicate with others. Although older generation artists has grown old, a new generation of artists is still emerging. This means that the ancient songs will never go away, and they will continue to be spread by Chinese, by Asians, by more people who love Chinese culture and music, and constantly renew their artistic fertility on the soil of world culture.